Hello there, welcome back to another virtual pub quiz 9 I think this is. So if you've been doing them every week, kudos, well done, thank you, and just I hope you're not that bored yet. So if you're joining us again, like I said, thanks for coming back. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. What have you been doing for the past 9 weeks? So, Friday the 22nd of May, half term next week, fantastic, it's brilliant, and thought I'd mix it up. So I won't do one next week, not that anyone cares, but I won't do one next week. It's half term, but I thought I would go out with a bit of a bang by mixing it up slightly this week. So there's 4 rounds again, but each round is of equal footing, and I'm also going to play a thing called the Joker round. So you get to decide one of your rounds is double the points, so you get to choose which round is double. Now, you can play this Joker on any round, but you have to declare it before I read out the questions. So you can't kind of wait until the answers come out and say, yeah, that was my Joker. You have to clearly declare what round you want it to be. So I'm going to read out the rounds so you're aware of them. There's no music round again. They're just all of equal footing, 12 questions. So there's a total of 60 marks in total if you count one round being doubled. So round 1 is national curriculum history, so the history national curriculum. Round 2 is fictional geography. So I'm going to tell you a fictional place, and you've got to tell me what kind of book, film, or TV series it came from. Round 3 is TV series quotes. So last week I did film quotes. This time it's TV series quotes, and you've got to tell me what the TV series that the quote comes from. And round 4 is general knowledge and current affairs. So 12 questions for each. So like I said, if you play the Joker, what you have to do is declare it before it. So whoever you're playing with, if you're playing on your own, fair enough. If you're playing with a team or you're playing with a group of people, you'd say, this is my Joker round. So have a think now what you might want to choose it for. If I was playing, national curriculum for history would be it. And apologies for doing a history round. I mean, some people like it, some people won't. I've really held off doing a history round because obviously, naturally, as a history teacher, I'm gonna love it. But anyway, I'll say no more. We're gonna move on to round 1. So if you're using this as your Joker, declare it. But this is the history national curriculum. So again, things you should have learnt in school. There's nothing crazy. So, question 1. How many of Henry VIII's children themselves became monarchs? So how many of Henry VIII's children themselves became monarchs? Feel free to answer that yourself. Or no. So how many of Henry VIII's children themselves became monarchs? Question 2. What did Francis Drake and Lord Howard famously finish as they heard that the Spanish Armada had arrived? So in 1588, the Spanish Armada arrived off the English coast, and when Francis Drake and Lord Howard heard of this, what did they famously finish? They famously finished something. What did they finish? Question 3. Which of the following planes was the fastest, as in could go the fastest, had the highest speed? A Spitfire or a Hurricane? Which of those planes was the fastest? A Spitfire or Hurricane? Question number 4. Harriet Tubman was famous for what? What was Harriet Tubman famous for? Question number 5. Now, this is a bit dodgy, I suppose. This could be, this isn't necessarily in the history curriculum, but fair enough. I'm putting it in anyway. Which was the last monarch of Great Britain or England to physically lead their army in battle? So this isn't kind of being head of the armed forces. This is actually being at a battle and leading them. Who was the last monarch to do that? I'm not saying. Although you got the question right earlier when... Yeah. Question number 6. What does Soho, Kit Harington and Channel 4 News have in common? What does Soho, Kit Harington and Channel 4 News have in common? Question number 7. Blitz is a German word for what? So what is the English translation of the word blitz? Question 8. Charles I obviously declared war on Parliament in August 1642, beginning the First English Civil War. To raise an army, you raise the royal standard, or it did anyway at the time. But in what UK city did he raise the royal standard and declare war on Parliament? In what UK city? Question number 9. King George VI was famously a stammerer. He had a stammer and was made famous by the film The King's Speech. However, George VI was his regal name. What was he known to his close friends and family? So what name did his family and close friends call him? Like, for example, Edward VIII, who abdicated, was known as David. What was George VI known as to his friends and family? Question 10. Millicent Fawcett was a member of what organisation? Millicent Fawcett was a member of what organisation? Or which organisation? Don't know what one's the right one there. Moving on. Who said this famous quote? So, who said this famous quote? You turn if you want to, but this lady's not for turning. You turn if you want to, but this lady's not for turning. And the last question of the national curriculum round for history. Question 12. The world came close to nuclear Armageddon during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. Sorry, I was about to give it away there. In 1962. However, how many days did the Cuban Missile Crisis last for? Was it A, 11 days? Was it B, 12 days? Was it C, 13 days? Or D, 14 days? So A, 11, B, 12, C, 13, D, 14 days. That's the end of the round, and once again, you don't have to ask me to repeat it. You can just push me back on the YouTube thing. So if you want to repeat, there we go. Round 2. If you want to have a drink, have a quick, refreshing squash, tropical squash, weaning off the Diet Coke. Round 2. So fictional geography. This is a fictional place, and you have to tell me what film, TV, or book series that it came from. So you don't have the specific actual book. If it's just a film series or TV series, that's absolutely fine. Right, I'll start with a nice easy one. Wakanda. Wakanda. That came from what universe? Or film? Question 2. Ottery St. Catchpole. Ottery St. Catchpole. Number 3. Pride Rock. Pride Rock. Number 4. Rivendell. Rivendell. Number 5. Mos Eisley Cantina. Mos Eisley Cantina. Number 6. 100 Acre Woods. 100 Acre Woods. Number 7. The Drunken Clam. Number 7. The Drunken Clam. Number 8, Lavender Town. Lavender Town. Number 9, Omicron Persei 8. Number 9, Omicron Persei 8. Number 10, Torrens Square. Torrens Square. Number 11, Sodor. Sodor. And 12, Panem. Panem or Panem. 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 So those were the 12 fictional places or establishments or cities or towns or whatever. And you've got to say what universe or kind of what book or TV series or film series that they came from. Round 3. So round 3. This is TV series quotes. So you've got to tell me not the person who said it, just the TV series that the quote came from. And again, if you've ever listened to me before and I've talked about TV shows, this might give you a bit of an inkling about what I like, and so therefore what ones I'm more inclined to kind of remember quotes from. But there's some good ones, easy ones, not so easy ones in there, so give it a go. TV series quotes. So, TV series 1, this quote is, "You come at the king, you best not miss. You come at the king, you best not miss." TV series 2, "Say my name, Heisenberg. You're goddamn right. Say my name, Heisenberg. You're goddamn right." Number 3, "What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis?" You probably know the phrase, but it's slightly more difficult knowing what TV show that came from. I wouldn't have known. Number 4, this is a great one. "We were on a break. We were on a break." Number 5, "A mind needs books like a wet sword." A sword needs a whetstone. So I'll say it again, apologies. "A mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone. A mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone." Number 6, "It is I, Leclerc. It is I, Leclerc." Love that TV show. Number 7, "Son, do you realise that you're nothing but a large pair of scrubs to me? Son, do you realise that you're nothing but a large pair of scrubs to me?" That's number 7. Number 8, "Shake with your right hand, but hold a rock in your left. Shake with your right hand, but hold a rock in your left." Number 9, "They say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except for polio. They say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except for polio." Number 10. Number 10. "I'm not normally a praying man, but if you're up there, please save me, Superman. I'm not normally a praying man, but if you're up there, please save me, Superman." Number 11. "I'm one of the few authors you'll meet that's written more books than he's read. I'm one of the few authors you'll ever meet that's written more books than he's read." And 12. "If they didn't want an army, they shouldn't have given us uniforms. If they didn't want an army, they shouldn't have given us uniforms." And just, that's not MASH. I'm just going to give you a bit of a hint there. So that's all 12 of the TV show's popular lines or famous lines. So you've got to tell me what they were. Again, just a reminder, if you were playing the Joker, you need to have declared that beforehand, not afterwards. We're like, "Oh no, that wasn't as easy as I thought," or "That was easier than I thought, now I'll play it." So on to the last round, which is general knowledge. So again, 12 questions and just a random question at the end, which doesn't count for anything. So round 4, which is just general knowledge and current affairs. Question 1. Which metal is the best conductor of heat and electricity? Is it A, silver, B, copper, C, lead, or D, zinc? Is it A, silver, B, copper, C, lead, or D, zinc? Question 2. I'm not doing a how many land borders thing again. I think I'm exhausted by my map skills on that one. But anyway, what is the capital of the US state of Louisiana? So it's still geography themed. But what is the capital of the US state of Louisiana? Question 3. Who is the only mentor to have appeared in every series of the UK version of The Voice? Who is the only mentor to have appeared in every series of The Voice? The constellation Canis Major is represented by what animal? The constellation Canis Major is represented by what animal? This is a stupid one. I don't know if you've seen it, but just don't do it. Question 5. Which famous singer smashed his 2 front teeth this week doing something really, really silly? Which famous singer smashed their 2 front teeth out this week? Question 6. The Sunday Times Rich List was announced this week, or last Sunday, Sunday Times. And obviously the coronavirus has had a big impact on that list. Who is the richest person in the UK? So not necessarily the richest person living, but the richest UK national. So person in Britain. Who is the richest person on the Sunday Times Rich List, UK? Question 7. I need to be careful here because I shouldn't give out my own personal thoughts on this, but this did make me a little bit angry. But question 7, how many UK Prime Ministers have attended Eton? How many UK Prime Ministers have attended Eton? And in terms of, if you're going to be a pedant and say, well, hang on a minute, the term and the phrase Prime Minister only started in 1911 with Campbell Bannerman, it goes all the way back to Horace Walpole. So how many of those Prime Ministers have been to Eton? Question 8. In Britain, the food or the vegetable eggplant is known as a what? Or is known as what? Question 9. I had a Simpsons themed question last week, so I thought I'd do another one because I think it's really quite a nice one. But in The Simpsons, obviously Maggie is very famous for the pacifier and for continuously sucking on the pacifier. There is an episode called Maggie's First Word, which is one of the nicest Simpsons episodes they ever made, and a very, very funny one as well. I'd recommend watching it. It's great. It's on Disney Plus, if you got it. But in the episode Maggie's First Word, what turns out to actually be Maggie's first word? I've forgotten. They got someone very famous to actually say the word. I've forgotten. It'll come to me at some point. But what is Maggie Simpson's actual first word? Question 10. For better or worse, the smoking ban came into effect in Britain in what year? The smoking ban came into force in Britain, so the banning of smoking within public places was banned in what year? So, public houses, restaurants, hotels, it was banned. But in what year did that law come into effect? Question number 11. So that's question number 10. Question number 11. Wednesday of this week was the hottest day of the year so far. What was the highest recorded temperature in Britain? So I don't care about point whatever. If you just give me the actual temperature, the closest surface, I don't know, 13 degrees Celsius. Oh yeah, not Fahrenheit, Celsius. I want Celsius. So what was that? So I want kind of whole numbers. Hate octopuses, great pet, just don't like octopuses or squids or anything like that. So this gives me the heebie-jeebies. But question 12, how many hearts does an octopus have? How many hearts does an octopus have? And, no kind of metaphorical heart because it loves everything. No, just actual physical hearts. So that's question 12. That's the last question that matters. But there's obviously the random one, which you get an actual mark. So it is technically out of 61 if you get 4 marks, but good luck if you did that. So you get a point for it, but it doesn't count for the overall total. Whilst doing my weekly shop in Tesco's, I decided to treat myself to buying a chocolate bar. Some would probably laugh at that and think, really? But I did. I bought a chocolate bar. Specifically bought this chocolate bar. What chocolate bar did I buy when I was in Tesco's? And it wasn't like a big packet of Oreo, which, you know, Oreo, dairy milk, whatever. I'm not talking about big packets here. I'm talking about, you know, like in the confectionery aisle where you actually just buy like a Mars bar or a Twix or something like that. What specific chocolate bar did I buy? And you need it specific as well. So, moving on from the one that doesn't matter to the actual questions that matter and the answers. So I'm hoping you remember to have actually played your Joker so that you can double some of your answers for a round. So this is technically out of 60 because if one of your round counts for twice, it's 24. So there we go. Round 1, the National Curriculum for History. So if there's any students who have ever been taught by me and you don't do very well in this, I will take full responsibility for that. And if any adults watching this don't do very well in it, I will again take responsibility for probably boring you to death with trying to talk to you about history. I do my best, and I'm jesting, of course. History's great, love it. Anyway, right. Question number 1 of round 1. How many of Henry VIII's children became monarchs themselves? 3. Obviously, that's Edward, Teddy, Mary, and Elizabeth. They were his surviving children. He did actually have other surviving children, like Henry Fitzroy, who died at the age of 25, I think it was. But he wasn't a legitimate child. But yeah, 3 of his children became monarchs. Question 2, what did Francis Drake and Lord Howard famously finish? It was a game of bowls. A game of bowls. So they're playing a game. There's nothing they could do when they heard the Spanish Armada because the tide was coming in to Plymouth Sound, so they couldn't do anything about it. So they finished their game of bowls. Which of the following was the fastest plane, the Spitfire or the Hurricane? It's the Spitfire. Although, ironically enough, the Hurricane shot down more planes in the Battle of Britain than the Spitfire. Harriet Tubman, question 4, was famous for what? She ran the Underground Railroad and helped free slaves during the slave trade, the latter part of the slave trade, when the northern states in America were, had no slavery. Harriet Tubman helped free slaves. Number 5, who was the last monarch of England to physically lead their army in battle? It was George II. George II. Question 6, what does Soho, Kit Harington and Channel 4 News have in common? It is Jon Snow. So Soho, in the London district of Soho, there is a street called Broad Street. That is where the physicist and Dr. Jon Snow first removed the pump Broad Street to figure out that there was cholera going on. And he proved that cholera was a waterborne disease from the Broad Street pump. Kit Harington plays Jon Snow in Game of Thrones, and Channel 4 News anchor is Jon Snow, brother of Peter Snow. Moving on. So it's Jon Snow. If you put cholera, you're wrong. Question 7. Blitz is a German word for lightning. Lightning. Hence, Blitzkrieg is lightning war, fast war. Question number 8. Charles I declared war on Parliament by raising his standard in what UK city? It is Nottingham. Nottingham. Question number 9. King George famously had a stammer, and he again made famous in the film The King's Speech, really good film. What was he known? Bertie. Bertie. That was his kind of name given to him, Albert Bertie. Number 10. Now, this is an interesting one. Millicent Fawcett was a member of the suffragists, not the suffragettes. She was a member of the suffragists. So if you put suffragettes, I'm going to give you half a mark. And if you use your joker, that gives you a full mark. But it's suffragists for the full mark. It's not the suffragettes, so a different organisation. Although they obviously wanted the same thing, as their means which are different. Who said this famous quote? You turn if you want to, but this lady's not for turning. It was Maggie Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher. Famous, it's just a great pun on the idea of a U-turn. Fantastic. Don't like Thatcher. Again, not getting political, By God, that was charisma. And question 12 of round 1. The world came close to nuclear Armageddon during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it lasted for how many days? It was C, 13. It's 13 days of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So total those up, double if you play the Joker. So if you're like, yeah, I'm way ahead of everyone else, because I use a Joker, don't gloat too quickly if no one else did. Again, if you've used a Joker and you're just now level pegging with everyone else, you might want to be a bit worried. But anyway, moving on. Round 2, fictional geography. Now, this round was a really good idea, and it wasn't my idea, so someone told me to do it. And I'm glad for this round. So, round 2, question 1, Wakanda. That's obviously from the film Black Panther, which is part of the Avengers universe. So if you put Avengers or Black Panther, that's absolutely fine. Now, Ottery St. Catchpole, that's a difficult one. It's Harry Potter. So I put that in there knowing that a lot of Harry Potter buffs will probably get that right. I originally put Godric's Hollow, but I thought that's too easy. But Ottery St. Catchpole, that's actually a little village near where the Weasleys, the borough, and that's where the Weasleys, near there, where they live. Pride Rock, obviously, is The Lion King, Disney. Rivendell, that's Lord of the Rings. Mos Eisley Cantina, that's Star Wars. That's number 5. 100 Acre Woods is Winnie the Pooh. The Drunken Clam is obviously the watering hole in Quahog, which is Family Guy. Family Guy. Number 8, Lavender Town is the Pokemon universe. The Pokemon universe. Omicron Persei 8, that is Futurama. Torrens Square, that's Game of Thrones. Sodor is Thomas the Tank Engine, that was number 11. And Panem is The Hunger Games. The Hunger Games. So some of those were easier than others. If you like your TV, books and films, that would have been reasonably straightforward. But I thought for the more obvious ones, I thought I'd make it a bit more difficult. But there we go. That's fictional geography for you. And if you've never heard of any of that, read a book, watch TV. Round 3. TV series quotes. Guess a TV series from the famous line. Obviously, there's a lot of TV shows which probably aren't appropriate for me to quote lines from. So try to steer clear from some of those. But either way, I've given you some clean lines here. And number 1, I had to put it as number 1 because it is, in my opinion, my humble opinion. I don't expect you to agree with me. But if you do, great. Let's talk. But number 1 is obviously my favourite TV show. And this is You Come at the King, You Best Not Miss. Now this is by Omar, says that, and that's in The Wire. Excellent TV show, really is fantastic. If you have any spare time over half term and you're above the age of 18, because it is an 18 certificate, watch The Wire. It's a great TV show, brilliant. Number 2, Say My Name, Heisenberg. You're goddamn right, that's Breaking Bad. I could have used multiple quotes from Breaking Bad, but that was a good one, so that's Breaking Bad. Walter White saying that. What You Talking About, Willis? Now you'll probably know the phrase, but actually the TV show is from Different Strokes. Different Strokes. That's Gary Coleman. Different Strokes. No point for saying Gary Coleman. We Were on a Break is Ross Geller from Friends. Great line. Again, I could have used so many different lines from Friends, but there we go. That's a good one. A mind needs a book like a sword needs a whetstone. Now, for any of you students out there that have done, that may be kind of thinking, well, what can I do to keep my mind occupied? Read a book. Trust me, it helps your brain. And that's wise words from Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. And I love this. 6. So, it is I, Leclerc. That is Allo Allo. Again, I could have used several quotes from Allo Allo, but I thought I'd go for that one. Oh, Rene. There's so many great quotes, but that's Allo Allo. Number 7. Again, if you haven't watched Allo Allo, watch it. It's about occupied France during World War II. Number 7. Do you realise that you're nothing but son, do you realise that you're nothing but a large pair of scrubs to me? That's Scrubs. Again, a great TV show, Scrubs. Makes you laugh and cry at the same time. It's brilliant. Number 8, wise words from Frank Underwood here. So shake with your right hand, but hold a rock in your left. That's from House of Cards. It's House of Cards. They say whatever doesn't kill you. Number 9, they say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except for polio. That's Will from The Inbetweeners. Fantastic line. The Inbetweeners. Again, this is number 10. I'm not normally a praying man, but if you're up there, please save me, Superman. That's Homer Simpson from The Simpsons. This is a niche one. If you get this, good-o, well done. But I love this line again. Once again, I could quote many of it, but it's one of my favourite TV shows. Only one series of it. I'm one of the few authors you'll meet that's written more books than he's read. That's Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Great TV show. Matthew Holness. Brilliant. Richard Ayoade. Number 12. If they didn't want an army, they shouldn't have given us uniforms. That's The Handmaid's Tale. It's A Handmaid's Tale. So, total those up out of 12 or 24, depending on if you played your Joker. Congratulations if you got lots of those. If you've never heard of any of some of those, you think, what's a low, low? Check out some of those, as long as it's age appropriate. Right, round 4, final round, which is general knowledge and current affairs. General knowledge and current affairs. So, question number 1 for round 4, which metal is the best conductor of heat and electricity? A, silver, B, copper, C, lead, or D, zinc. Now, I probably should, the better conductor is sort of the best, but it's A, silver. Apparently silver is more, conducts more than any of those others, except it's just too expensive, so they use copper because it's cheaper. Number 2, what is the capital of the US state of Louisiana? Unlucky if you put New Orleans, but New Orleans is the largest city, but it's not the capital. It's Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge. Number 3, who is the only mentor to have appeared in every series of The Voice? It's will.i.am. That's the UK version. That's will.i.am. Ever since Black Eyed Peas broke. I don't know if they've broken up. Are they broken up? Don't know. No idea. Don't think he's got that much on at the moment. Number 4. The constellation Canis Major is represented by what animal? It's a dog. So it's the Great Dog is the name for Canis Major. I love my constellations. If you ever read Harry Potter, the Black family are named after stars, like Sirius. So Sirius, he transforms into a dog, just like the Great Dog. Anyway, Sirius is the brightest star in Canis Major. Moving on. Sorry, useless Harry Potter trivia. Apologies. Question 5. Which famous singer smashed his 2 front teeth out this week? Now, part of me thinks, look, I don't ever wish this on anyone, because that must have really hurt, and, you probably can't go to a dentist because of the lockdown. But if you think it's a really good idea to stick a corn on a cob on a drill and then put it up to your teeth, what do you expect to happen? And the singer who did that was Drake. So smash 2 front teeth. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's just stupid. And someone caught the hair in it once as well. So just power tools are there for DIY and not for eating and or doing silly things. Even if you're that bored, don't do it. Question 6. According to the Sunday Times rich list after the coronavirus, who is the richest person in Britain? It's James Dyson. James Dyson. Have some stories about him that don't come from me, but someone's told me about him. I won't repeat them. Number 7. How many UK Prime Ministers have attended Eton? 20. 20 UK Prime Ministers have attended Eton. I'll just leave that with you. You can get angry about that if you want to. If you're watching this and you're from Eton, why are you watching this? Anyway, right, number 8. In Britain, an eggplant is known as aubergine. An aubergine in America is called an eggplant. In Britain, an eggplant is known as an aubergine. Aubergine. Number 8. In The Simpsons, what is Maggie's first word? Now, I've got to Google this. It's really annoying. It's not dying. Her first word, it's a great episode. Her first word is daddy. And the butt of the joke is that Homer is constantly, Bart and Lisa don't call him daddy. They call him Homer. And Maggie says Maggie says daddy as her first word. And who is the guest star? It is, no one's telling me. It's not saying. You know what? Doesn't matter. We'll move on. But anyway, it's someone quite big. Daddy was her first word. Number 10. What year did the smoking ban come into force in Britain? 2007. 2007. Number 11. Oh goodness. If you're in year 7, you weren't born in 2007. That's really, really sad. God. Okay. Here's to youth. Number 11. Wednesday of this week was the hottest day of the year so far. What was the highest temperature recorded in Britain? Now, I wanted the whole number, so it's 27.8 degrees Celsius. So if you put 28 degrees, I suppose that's closest. But if you put 27 as well, you're fine. If you've got 27 degrees or 28 degrees, God, I suppose that's a bit an easy question there. And how many hearts does an octopus have? They have 3 hearts. 3 hearts. What they need them for, I have no idea. So good, that's total those up. That's out of 12. That's the last question of that round. And what did I buy to treat myself while I was out for the weekly shop? I bought a white chocolate Twix. A white chocolate Twix. If you said Twix, nah. White chocolate Twix. Goodness, they're good. They're really good. So I'm weaning myself off of Diet Coke and then becoming addicted to white chocolate Twixes. So, oh. Anyway, don't follow me down that road of white chocolate Twixy goodness. But look, that's it. I hope you guys all have a fantastic half term. I'll see you after then. Congratulations if you just won. Commiserations if you didn't win. And if you maybe switched off after 3 minutes because you got bored, fair enough. But look, have a great half term and I'll see you after. Speak soon. Bye-bye.